My stomach is getting bigger and bigger. The in-laws are overjoyed and show off to everyone. I don't know how to open my mouth. My huge belly is not a child. It's liver ascites. While I am afraid of death, I am also afraid of the infinite regret after the joy of my mother-in-law's family falls into light. Until one day, I found that my mother-in-law actually bought more than a dozen insurance policies for me early. 8 years after marrying Song Bowen, my belly got bigger. My mother-in-law's family worshipped the sky, the earth and the ancestors. They announced the good news before I went to the hospital for examination. I, who was diagnosed with liver ascites in the hospital, fell into another abyss before I could wait for the opportunity to explain. If it hadn't been for the clear abdominal pain, I couldn't believe that the insurance policy in front of me was real. Huge insurance policy, like a life charm. It's hard to breathe and my face is gray. When the feeling of suffocation came, the happy face of the mother-in-law kept shaking in front of her. Those family members, who I thought were sincere to me, it turned out to be the devil who pushed me to death. Why? Why do you treat me like this? Because I haven't had children for many years after marriage? Because my parents' business failed, they lost all their money? I have too many questions and anger to vent in my heart. But I know I can't. My current body has stepped into the ghost gate, and excessive emotional ups and downs will only accelerate my death. I can't just die like this. Absolutely not. Outside the door, there was my mother-in-law's anxious urging. I silently put the accidentally found policy back behind the mural. He opened the door with his big belly in both hands. My mother-in-law looked up and down at me and said with a kind smile, "Nanchu, come on. Let's see how much delicious food Mom has prepared for you. Now that you are pregnant, you need to supplement more nutrition." I was enthusiastically pulled to the table, which was full of fried chicken, cream cake, chocolate, pine eggs, sunflower seeds. My heart shivered, and I realized that these delicacies turned out to be killers that hurt the liver. Seeing that I didn't eat, my mother-in-law urged me to feed me. I pretended to vomit and hid in the toilet. I really wanted to vomit. I was disgusted by my mother-in-law's hypocritical face. Suddenly, I remembered the transformation of my mother-in-law's family a year ago. My mother-in-law, who was dissatisfied with my childlessness and had been sneering at me since I got married, suddenly cared about me very much. Every time I have a family dinner, I am intoxicated by my enthusiastic aunt and sister-in-law. My body is getting worse and worse, and my period is seriously irregent. By this year, the whole body is getting thinner, and the belly is getting bigger and bigger. I was going to check, but my mother-in-law said that I had it, and blocked me with the instability of the fetal phase within 3 months. Then it was directly announced that I was pregnant. But I always feel that this stomach doesn't look like a child. After I threatened to call 120 to take me for a checkup, Song Bowen took me to the hospital. The examination report came out, and my stomach was full of ascites. When I was most confused and helpless, Song Bowen persuaded me to rest assured that everything was with him. So he went into the doctor's office by himself. When he came out again, he looked relaxed and told me that the doctor had prescribed medicine and would be fine if he took it on time. I was taken home by him in a trance, and since then I have been imprisoned by the guard, but actually care. Song Bowen told me not to let my family worry. When I was cured after taking the medicine, I would tell them the truth, and pretended to tell my family that the hospital had prescribed birth control pills. The water in the bathroom faucet has been flowing all the time, as if the water in my head has flowed cleanly over the years. I'm so stupid that I completely believe that Song Bowen is a good husband. I never thought that he would be so deliberate to make me naturally sick. A bone-chilling chill, and fear rose from the bottom of my heart. The person I wanted to see most in the past has become the source of my fear now. Someone tried to push open the bathroom door outside the door, but was blocked by the reverse lock. The voice sounded with the meaning of reprimand. "Mom, didn't I tell you not to leave Nanchu alone? She is not feeling well. You have to protect her for me when I'm away. Nanchu, it's me. I'm back. Open the door. It's almost time for you to take the medicine. Take the medicine obediently, and you won't feel uncomfortable and don't want to vomit." Song Bowen's voice seemed to spread coldly and slippery, too. I couldn't help shivering. Thinking of those medicines to cure liver ascites, I instinctively wanted to refuse. Reason suppressed the "I won't take your medicine" that I almost blurted out. I heard my voice tremble slightly, but extremely pitiful and gentle. "Bowen, you're finally back. I feel so bad. Give me the medicine quickly, give me the medicine quickly." I weakly opened the door and rushed into Song Bowen's arms, clearly capturing the disgust and cruelty in his eyes that had not been hidden. He took me to my room, half procrastination and half hugging, and soon took 4 or 5 pills, and fed them to me in person. I opened my mouth obediently and ate it all, and the bitter taste instantly filled my mouth. I pointed to the water cup not far away, and Songbo turned around to take it when he heard it. The moment he turned his back on me, I quickly reached out and spit out the medicine and stuffed it into the cuff. When he turned around and handed me the water cup, I was already in tears. Although the medicine stopped in this way, I know that my body can't drag on. Only by finding a chance to go out as soon as possible can you save your life. My mobile phone has been taken away by my mother-in-law on the grounds that I can't touch the mobile phone during pregnancy, and there is radiation. Songboen also advised me at that time that the liver ascites should be taken care of calmly, and not using a mobile phone has only advantages and no harm. Because of this, I completely cut off contact with the outside world. For the next 3 days, I didn't find a chance to go out. On the 4th day, Songbo heard a phone call from his mother-in-law after work, which made me see hope. The mahjong hall in the community asked her to help her. She has been guarding me for 3 days, and she has been itching for a long time. It's just that Songboen's order forced to spend time at home with me. The other end of the phone kept urging her to ask if she was going, and she hesitated to look at me. I already look like I'm sleepy, which is also my deliberate new symptom in the past few days. I always fall asleep and can't wake up, and it takes 3 or 4 hours each time. My mother-in-law saw that I was asleep. She excitedly agreed to the mahjong hall, picked up her bag and left. When he passed by me on the sofa, he muttered complainingly, "It's better not to wake up in a direct coma." She didn't see it. My hand clenched tightly on the inside of the sofa and turned white. After my mother-in-law left, I removed the inconspicuous black line on the side of the floor mat at the door and reached in and touched a layer of plastic wrap. There is a neat 2,000 yuan in it. After I got married far away and bought a house here, my mother gave me the land money for my new house. At that time, I thought my mother was feudal and superstitious, and I didn't want to tell Songboen. Unexpectedly, now this money has become my life-saving money. 3. Time is tight. I bought the cheapest smartphone with my ID card and opened a new number. Then I rushed to the hepatobiliary specialist hospital and showed the previous examination list directly to the doctor after registration. The doctor scolded me for being so serious that I came to treat my illness. I told the truth concisely. The doctor is kind-hearted, and he will urgently pump my ascites without saying a word. I was worried that I didn't have enough money, so I called my best friend Luchin. She heard that I rushed to the hospital. When she entered the ward, she saw the doctor surrounding me, and my huge belly was already full of skin. Is this about to give birth? No, Songboen informed us that you were pregnant 3 months ago. If the fetus is unstable, you need to rest. Let's not disturb you. What's wrong with you, Nanchu? When Luchin knew the ins and outs, I had already pumped the ascites. The huge belly shred up in an instant, and I got an unprecedented ease. But the doctor's still frown made me soberly realize that the relaxation at this moment is only temporary. Ascites difficult to collect. After confirming the treatment plan with the doctor, I was hospitalized. Not long after, Luchin received a call from Songboen. According to my plan, when Luchin heard that Songboen said that I was missing, Luchin was just right to show surprise and inquiry. When I heard Songboen ask her if she had seen me, she scolded him for not taking good care of me. I feel relieved when I think of Songboen's patience on the other side of the phone. It's just that the pleasure of revenge can't satisfy my hatred. The sins I suffered are still on them 10 times, and 100 times. I am sure that Songboen will not call the police to find me loudly, which will only let more people know about his evil deeds earlier. But he will definitely check the surveillance of the property, and see that I am running out alone. I was sick in the hospital for a week. After taking the right medicine, my health improved significantly, and I was discharged from Luchin's house. Counting the time, I began to prepare the first meeting gift for Songboen. On this day, I appeared in a bureau where Songboen served with a big belly. After listening to my report, the doorman congratulated me happily, and wished our husband and wife all their wishes. I walked into the door with a smile, and walked to Songboen's studio step by step with my stomach. Songboen was not here. Someone greeted me warmly, and told me that Songboen was having a meeting with the leadership team upstairs. It seems that my meeting gift may also be a promotion gift. I stepped on the stairs slowly, under the pretext of going to the toilet. In the huge glass conference room, Songboen sat at the end, writing hard from time to time, and sometimes nodded to the leader's speech. It looks like I'm looking for a job. The leader here seems to be very satisfied with this junior in his 30s. Looking at his eyes with appreciation, cooperation and encouragement, I gently tapped the glass behind Songboen's seat, and he turned around with a smile. The smile froze at the corners of his mouth in an instant, and he looked at me in a daze. It's like see the hell alive. Compared with his reaction, I have to be much more calm. I showed the sweetest smile and my voice was full of joy. Honey, I'm back. How are you? 4. The people in the conference room looked at Song Bowen suspiciously, as if they were surprised by his strange reaction. Song Bo heard that an older female leader beside him secretly pulled his sleeve. Song Bowen only woke up and changed to a good husband's expression and said eagerly, "Nanchu, where have you been? I'm so worried. I'll take you home first." That of course, he wants to take me out of here as fast as possible. How can I do as he wishes? I walked into the conference room with my stomach, ignored the eyes of others, and continued to accompany Song Bowen to perform this good play. I've been missing for a week. Are you worried? You lied to me. If you are really worried about me, why don't you call the police to find me? My tears were true, and the eyes of the leader in the conference room looked at Song Bowen. The leader sitting at the top even glanced at the secretary behind him, and the secretary immediately handed me a chair. Song Bo was speechless when he was asked by me, and he could only repeat, "Go home first. Let's talk about it when we get home." But I resisted him from rushing over and pulling my hand as if I had been wronged. "No, I won't go back with you. If there is anything, I will make it clear in your unit. There is a leader in the unit who will take care of me and go home. Woo-woo. I will listen to you in everything. You will only lie to me and bully me. I won't go back, I won't go back." Song Bowen explained to the leader awkwardly that I was an abnormal hormonal reaction after pregnancy, which led to an unstable mental state. The female leader who secretly dragged him also followed suit at this moment. "Yes, this woman will be suspicious after pregnancy. She will cry and make trouble for a while. Xiaosong, send Nanchu home and have a good rest. I will give you a day off today." This woman seems to be Song Bowen's direct leader. After she made a decision, it was difficult for other leaders to investigate further. Song Bo heard that he had been amnestied. Regardless of my resistance, he pulled and dragged me away. I cried and resisted while kicking my hands and feet. The scene was chaotic for a while, and suddenly something fell out. The originally messy conference room was silent in an instant. My stomach fell off. The silicone fake belly fell softly on the clean and shiny porcelain white floor tiles, which was particularly conspicuous. When the crowd was stunned and couldn't react at all, I screamed, rushed over to pick up my stomach and put it on my body. Ah, my stomach. My child. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Why did it fall off? Bowen, I'm sorry, it's my fault. I didn't do what you told me well. I can't really get pregnant, and I didn't pretend to be pregnant. You hit me, you scold me, I'll suffer. I dragged my fake belly and cried beside Song Bowen's lap. Song Bowen, who had always been calm, had already lost his opinion at this moment. The female leader was about to come forward, but was stopped by the big leader, who had been sitting in silence at the first place. The leader coughed lightly and looked straight at Song Bowen and asked word by word, "What's going on?" I could feel Song Bo's body shaking when he heard that he hesitated for a long time. I stood in front of him and pleaded, "Leader, don't blame Bowen. It's because I'm useless. I'm not in good health, and it's hard to get pregnant. Bowen asked me to pretend to be pregnant for my own good. But Bowen, what strange medicine did you give me? The doctor said that I took a lot of medicines that caused liver failure, and almost went into acute liver coma. I came to you as soon as I got better. Now it's so uncomfortable. My stomach hurts so much." Bang! There was a loud noise in the conference room. 5. The leader's cup was heavily thrown to the ground. The big leader announced with a pale face, "Song Bowen, from today on, you will be suspended for reflection. When will you deal with your family affairs? And when will you talk about your official affairs?" The female leader stepped forward a few steps and said something in the ear of the big leader, and was impatiently waved by the big leader to dodge, and said coldly, "Your good subordinate. Li Dan, don't think I don't know anything." When the female leader named Li Dan heard the words, her face turned red and white, and she did not dare to defend Song Bowen again. But in Li Dan's reaction, I caught a glimpse of an unexpected gain. It seems that there are important characters in this play that I don't know about. The leaders left, leaving only me and Song Bowen in the conference room. He gritted his teeth and couldn't wait to tear me apart. "Nanchu, what on earth do you want?" I ignored him and looked at the ubiquitous surveillance here. Song Bowen had no other choice but to endure it. Like a dog, he obediently helped me out of the unit step by step with his eyebrows drooping. I know he wants to leave here and have an attack again. Unfortunately, he will never have this opportunity. Lu Chen's car suddenly stopped at the door. When I was about to get on the car, Song Bo reluctantly let me go and pulled my arm. I cried out, "It hurts so much, Bowen, don't hurt me, I'm scared." The colleagues who came in and out turned their eyes. The security guard rushed over at the first time and asked me if I needed help. It was Song Bowen, who was gentle and elegant, who was pulling me with a shocked face. Song Bowen took a few deep breaths before he found his usual voice and whispered, "Nanchu, I just don't feel at ease that you live outside. Will you come home with me?" Don't play your childish temper. He coaxed with good words, as if he were a good man who was used to his wife. But I was too lazy to continue acting with him, and said in a cold voice, "Let go. If you don't let go, I'll call the police." As soon as the security guard heard that I was going to call the police, he didn't care about Song Bowen's face. He came forward and pulled Song Bowen away and grabbed my hand tightly. In this way, I left in front of Song Bowen with a triumphant smile. Lu Chen's car did not drive home, but went directly to the hospital. Although I am getting better, the lesion has been deeply rooted. Today's toss, my stomach suddenly swelled and hurt, my face was waxy yellow, and the bottom of my eyes was blue. When I was hanging water in the hospital, Lu Chen advised me to slow down my plan. She said that bad people have their own harvest. I shook my head. There are some things. I'm afraid it's too late if I don't do it again. I have to clean up the person who made me like this. Song Bowen has only lost his relegation now. And what about profit? I want this man to lose his fame and fortune. 6. After half a month of hospitalization this time, my body reached the standard of barely being discharged from the hospital. The first thing to do after discharge from the hospital is to file for divorce. Song Bowen was asked to leave the house cleanly. Naturally, the Song family did not recognize it. For this reason, Song Bo heard that his mother even found Lu Chen's house, and cried at the door of Lu Chen's house. Why am I so miserable? I have a black-hearted daughter-in-law. I can't give birth to a divorce, and want my son to leave the house clean. My God, big guy, help me. That's all the family property that my son desperately earned. Nanchu, I know you're inside. You come out. You are a woman who can't give birth to children. You should clean up and leave the house. The people in the community were attracted by her cry. After listening to a few words, they felt that what they said was reasonable. They came forward to knock on the door and said, "Little dear, you are a good boy. Hand over, you're out of tune. We can't help her harm people. Open the door, little dear. I'm your Aunt Wang. Every time you forget the key, I wait for someone to send you a spare key at my house. If you still recognize me as an aunt, you can open the door and let an elder cry at your door. What does it look like? I can't hear them scolding me, but I can't tolerate Lu Chen being wronged for no reason." After returning to the room and taking out a bag, I opened the door. When Song Bo heard that his mother saw the moment, he stopped crying, took out a divorce agreement from his arms, and forced me to sign it. Nanchu, I signed it as a person. After leaving the house, I have nothing to do with you and my son. I know without reading this agreement, it can not only protect Song Bowen's reputation, but also retain Song Bowen's profit. I reached out to take the agreement, and tore it to pieces with a few slatters. Song Bo heard that his mother rushed up to hit me, but was stopped outside the door by Lu Chen. The onlookers couldn't help coming forward to speak. You are the evil daughter-in-law of the Song family, right? You can't get pregnant. The Song family doesn't want you. What about you? Not only do you not know how to repay the favor, but you also want all the property of the Song family. It's too inhuman. Xiaolu, why are you stopping the old man of the Song family? This kind of woman should be beaten and taught her a lesson. Lu Chen had never seen this scene. The more anxious he was, the more stupid he was, and he held back tears. I protected Lu Chen behind him, and kicked Song Bowen's fat belly. She cried and fell to the ground, and shouted to call the police. I said coldly, "Call the police." Great. I'm worried about who to give these things to and who to find to be the master for me. After saying that, I took out the things in my bag one by one to enjoy them. There was a good thing to come forward and looked at it and said doubtfully, "Who is this man? Isn't it disgusting to be with such an old woman?" I kindly solved the puzzle for her. This is my husband, and this old lady is his female leader. 7. As soon as I finished speaking, the doubtful person just now opened his mouth, and pointed to Song Bowen's mother in disbelief and said, "Did your son find an old and young third? It looks about the same age as you." Song Bowen's mother shouted that it was impossible, and came up to grab the photo in my hand. A stack of photos was scattered everywhere in an instant. Song Bo heard that his mother picked up a few photos. As soon as he saw the people on it clearly, he fainted. Someone called 120. While waiting for 120 to come, I complained to the onlookers aggrievedly. "I'm sorry to let everyone read the joke. I originally thought that the family's ugliness could not be publicized. I wanted to save face for their old Song family, but I didn't expect that they bullied people too much. Song Bowen not only cheated in marriage, but also plotted to kill me with his mother, sister and sister. This is the medicine they gave me. Look." That I showed out the photo of the liver ascites, giant belly taken in the hospital, and continued, "I have a big belly, and they also said that I was pregnant. They imprisoned me at home, took my mobile phone, gave me liver-injuring food every day, and bought me a lot of insurance. The beneficiaries are all Song Bowen. As long as I die, The Song family will immediately get tens of millions of compensation. Uncles and aunts, do you still think it's too much for me to sue for divorce and ask Song Bowen to leave the house clean? I'm trying to save my life. If your daughter encounters such a thing, will you blame her? The women who helped Song Bowen's mother speak just now can't wait to smoke their big mouths, patting their thighs and regretting and apologizing. Oh my girl, what a terrible sin it is. It's so hard for our old woman to die. Aunt is wrong, little dear. Aunt is wrong to blame you. In the future, your friend will live here with peace of mind. I wonder who dares to make fun of her. Right. Don't worry, girl, we are here. If you dare to mess with you again, we will sweep her out with a broom. Until the ambulance came to take Song Bowen away, these people didn't look at her again. When Song Bo heard that his mother was like this, he held the photos of his son and his third son in his hand and showed off thoroughly all over the hospital. The scandal of male subordinates and older female leaders quickly spread throughout our small city. I heard that Song Bowen and Lao Shaosanchuang Shuang lost the Iron Rice Bowl. When they were at the top of the list of the negative impact of their unit, I was pumping ascites. My belly is getting bigger again. After years of accumulation, he deliberately plotted with his in-laws. The ascites pumped and rose again and again, and it was repeated. The previous period of physical condition seemed to be an illusion. This time, after the ascites rose again, I even felt difficult to breathe. The doctor realized the seriousness of the problem and directly detained me in the hospital for hospitalization. I tried my best to cooperate with the doctor's instructions to keep my mood stable, and secretly prayed in my heart that God would let me get through this difficult time. I was only 34 years old, and I couldn't bear to let go of this hurried life journey full of regret. Maybe the sky is far away, and my prayers are beyond the reach. When my heart beats faster again, and I felt more and more difficult to breathe, I saw my parents who were still in their years. The two gray-haired and rickety old men pushed open the door of the ward. They couldn't believe that their precious daughter was as thin as wood, and her belly was as swollen as a pot. I am an unfilial daughter. I have been married in Song Bowen City for 8 years, and I have only returned to my hometown twice. The last time I saw my parents was 3 years ago. The first to pounce on me was my mother. Her bean-sized tears fell in strings. When she approached me, she wanted to touch me, but she couldn't bear to give up. Daughter, what's wrong with this? This killed my mother's heart. My father was woken up from a dream when my mother cried. He staggered forward and stared at my belly, which was already transparent, and my blood vessels were clearly visible. My body, which was originally difficult to breathe, was completely unable to stand the ups and downs of my parents at first sight. My eyes were black, and I completely lost consciousness before I could speak. I'm going to die. 8. I guess what it felt like to die, but I never thought it would be so comfortable. The whole soul floats freely, without the shackles of the mortal body, so free. The pain that has been tormenting for so long has completely disappeared, and the darkness of fear does not exist. I am in a soft and bright tunnel, and there is only tranquility and peace in my heart. At the end of the tunnel not far away, the birds are singing, and the flowers are fragrant. The sky is high and the sea is wide. That is the world I yearn for. I accelerated to the end of the tunnel, and couldn't wait to enter the beautiful world. The tunnel entrance is getting closer and closer to reach. Just as half of my body floated out of the tunnel, a heartbreaking and sad call came from my ear. Daughter, come back, my daughter. Daughter, don't be afraid. Mom and Dad will accompany you right away. Don't be afraid. We swore to heaven when you were born that we would protect you for the rest of your life. Walk slowly and wait for us. Hearing my parents crying, I retreated in horror. But that world seems to have suction power, tightly wrapping up half of my body that has drifted out. My mind gradually became clear, and I realized that if I didn't retreat, I would die. Began to shout crazily and desperately, that in the first half of my life, I was unfilial and paid a heavy price for my love brain. Now I must not die. I want to live, no matter how difficult and painful it is. Oh, thinking about it, the floating body seemed to suddenly have a strong point. I took advantage of the situation to retreat quickly, and finally opened my eyes at the end of the rapid fall. After such a close-up experience of death, my health is terrible. When I calmed down, I asked my parents why they suddenly came over. My parents' answer was like a strong heart injection, which made me feel like a rainbow in an instant. Songbo heard that the scumbag actually came to pick up my parents in person for thousands of miles, in order to stimulate the serious illness to die. Ha! With the image of a good son-in-law, he was sad all the way and said that I was going to be seriously ill. You can imagine how exciting it is for my parents. I have to say that Song Bowen almost succeeded. After I told my parents the truth, my father went to Song Bowen to settle the score with red eyes. He was stopped by me who was weak. Seeing that I was stringing, my father hurriedly obeyed me, and told me not to get excited. I know what Song Bowen is up to. The iron rice bowl is gone, and all he expects is those large amounts of insurance. After a few days of treatment in the hospital, it was the day when I sued Song Bowen for divorce. I insisted on going to court in person. Lu Chun had already hired a lawyer for me and pushed me to the trial site in a wheelchair. Divorce has become common in today's society, and people will not pay much attention to it. But today's court is different. There have been 3 layers in the media waiting for the 2 parties. So as soon as I appeared in a wheelchair, I was surrounded by the media, and the questions were smashed one by one. Ms. Nanchu, is it true that you almost died in the emergency room last week? Do you know that it is illegal for you to find someone to secretly take a photo of the man's cheating and make a big announcement in order to leave the man clean? Or do you know the law and break the law and regard the law as nothing? Ms. Nanchu, did you morally kidnap the man and the public opinion in the divorce case on the basis of your serious illness? It's 2024, Ms. Nanchu. Now is not the era when anyone is weak and who is reasonable. 9. I frowned and listened to one sharp question after another. Through the reporter's long spear and short cannon, I saw Song Bowen with a smile behind me. Suddenly, I understood the origin of these problems. It's really underestimated that Song Bowen will take advantage of public opinion. But water can carry the boat, but it can also overturn the boat. Obviously, Song Bowen is not a good boatman. Only fools will fall into the trap of self-identification. I glanced solemnly at the reporters with ulterior motives, until they didn't dare to continue to look at me, and then slowly said, "Are you a doctor? Or the hospital staff? How do you know I'm going to die? Where did you get the patient information and health status in the emergency room of the hospital? Is the disclosure of personal privacy so blatant now? Who did I find to take a sneak shot? Do you have any evidence? Isn't the photo known to everyone when Song Bo heard that his mother held it in his hand? It's already 2024, and I don't know that it's a moral kidnapping to ask for cheating to be clean and leave the house? Who is reasonable, and who is unreasonable? The court has its own conclusion. Are you questioning the fairness of China's legal system, and implying that the law favors the weak?" Several reporters were speechless when asked by me. They were afraid that if they said one more word, they would be put on a big hat, and could no longer be defended. After entering the trial site, I was surprised to find that there were also reporters at the scene. The lawyer Lu Chen hired for me obviously didn't expect this, so he came forward to communicate with the staff. When I came back, I was very blue. It turned out that Song Bowen temporarily applied for the live broadcast of the trial, and the public paid a lot of attention to this matter. After comprehensive consideration, the court adopted Song Bowen's application. It seems that Song Bowen is counting on this trial to regain face and keep the inside. Sure enough, Song Bowen denied cheating on the spot. It is said that in the photo, I and Lao Shaosan are just a close relationship between the elders and the younger generation, and my turbid one sees turbid thoughts dirty and splash black water on him. Those photos are intimate hugs and hands, but there is no substantial cheating content. Song Bowen wanted to be so sophistry, and there was nothing he could do about him. I saw his disgusting face of "I'm shameless, I won't admit it, and what can you do with me?" There was a faint pain in my stomach, and I almost spit it out. Just as the court was about to declare that these photos were not evidence of the man's cheating, and would not be accepted, at my request, my lawyer temporarily applied for a new witness to testify in court. "Song Bowen, you can apply temporarily. Why can't I do it?" The door of the court slowly opened, and a man in his 50s appeared in front of the public. Song Bowen, who was still holding a winning ticket just now, shrank his head and couldn't wait to get into the crack of the ground, just like a rat seeing a cat. After the new witness stood firmly, the first sentence was to turn around and greet Song Bowen. "Ha! Xiaosong, long time no see." Song Bowen avoided his sight awkwardly and said no. He can choose not to look, but he can't cover his ears and not listen. The words of the new witness still came into his ears word for word. The despair and unbearableness on his face became more and more obvious. My new witness is Song Bowen's mentor. He is also the ex-husband of Lao Shaosan. In the statement of the new witness, the hearing staff finished a big show in a dumbfounded way. 10. Song Bo heard that his family conditions were not good, and he met this teacher when he was in college. Help him apply for a student loan, and keep him at home for dinner and accommodation on New Year's holidays. However, the teacher didn't expect that Song Bowen would have a relationship with his wife. The benefactor found clues from Song Bowen's food and clothing. The poor boy suddenly used a new mobile phone, put on famous brand shoes, and the watch on his wrist was extremely expensive. The benefactor did not move to observe, and finally caught the two when Song Bowen stayed overnight again. Song Bo heard that he knelt down and begged for mercy and promised never to commit it again. Lao Shaoxin took the initiative to clean himself and leave the house. It seems that this is the way it is. In fact, it's true. After graduation, Song Bowen met me from a well-off family and coaxed me to pay for a house and marry me. But he didn't expect that it would be so unsunyant to find a job. When he was depressed, the female leader flashed by the local news, which gave him hope. The two colluded again. If Song Bowen loves his teacher's mother, it's better to say that Song Bowen loves money, power and loves himself. The teacher projected the evidence at the trial site. A surveillance video. He installed it at home when he found the abnormality. Song Bowen and Lao Shaoxin didn't know about the surveillance. The scandals of the two people are clearly reflected in the surveillance. Which elder and junior can be so close to each other? Because the trial adopted Song Bowen's application live. This new evidence picture was naturally broadcast live throughout the whole process. After the trial, Song Bowen was sentenced to leave the house without any suspense. I stopped the teacher who was about to leave at the back door of the court. Mr. Zhang, I'm sorry to involve you and affect your reputation. I didn't know that the trial would be broadcast live suddenly. I'm really sorry. Teacher Zhang raised his hand to stop me from apologizing and comforted. I don't blame you. I didn't make this matter public at that time, because I thought the child could still be saved. If I made a mistake, I gave him another chance, and my ex-wife was in an important position. I couldn't bear to ruin her future. But when I thought about it, these two people knew their mistakes repeatedly, and even hurt your life. I was very disappointed in them. No, it is necessary to protect any of them. As for my reputation, little girl, I am old and thin. I have long seen through many things and underestimated them. How can things I don't care about affect me? It's you. Don't be influenced by these and live a good life. I choked up and thanked Mr. Zhang, and sent this good teacher away with tears in my eyes. Suddenly, there was a voice that I didn't want to hear the most behind me. Are you satisfied, Nanchu? Make me the end of the scene. I really didn't expect you to be such a cruel and heartless woman. I'm too lazy to go back and keep moving forward. Songbo was unwilling to be ignored by me, and ran crazily behind me, and looked crazy in front of me. Don't be happy too early, Nanchu. Look at your ghost, you may die one day. Do you think you have one? Ha ha ha. Whoever is alive is the winner. I pointed to several people not far away and said with a smile, have you seen those people? They are the audience who heard the trial today. Songboen didn't know what kind of medicine was sold in my gourd, and said impatiently, who listens to me? I only care about your death now. The smile on my lips deepened. But they are the business managers of the insurance company you insured. Songbo was speechless when he heard the words. Those people had already strode over, and began to talk to Songbo about his malicious insurance and breach of contract. Songbo saw that the last hope was gone. After losing the trial, he looked even more crazy. Unexpectedly, he cried and laughed from time to time. He also took off his clothes on the street, and his mouth was vague. Look at my belly. There is a baby in it. Ha ha ha, I was cheated. It's not a child, it's ascites. You're going to lose money. My wife is dead. Give me money quickly. I want financial freedom, ha ha ha. Songboen was so crazy that he was locked up in the mental hospital opposite my treatment. And I, as my condition has improved, I am starting to go through the discharge procedures.